and welcome to Zoe Your Own, although this one should technically be called Row Your Own. So yesterday me, Billy and a couple of our friends done something in Norwich called Pub and Paddle, where you essentially rent out a kayak for half a day or a whole day and just kayak. I think we done 8 miles from the Wensum to the Yare. Stop off at a couple of pubs along the way, go for a cheeky pint, go for a cheeky wee, get yourself all prepped up and zhuzhed up, and another layer of suntan lotion for the next leg of the journey, and then we stopped off at the ferry house in Surlingham, so yeah, that would make it about 8 miles, but there is one I think that's what the guy said, about 8 miles, but there is one more stop, which I believe is Coldham Hall, which is at the very end, so that's sort of like the biggest route that you can do, but there are slightly smaller routes, but I will leave a link to their website in the description below, so if you are from Norwich or you end up coming to Norwich and whatever, or coming this way, if you fancy giving it a go, I do highly recommend it. And as much as it is fun, it is equally hard work as well, because it's not at any point that you could go, that's all right, we'll let the current take us, because, well, there isn't any current, so it is hard work, but it is really, really good fun, and it does give you a good excuse to not have to go to the gym on that day that you're doing it. But I hope you enjoy this slightly different version of Zoe Your Own, and I'll see you very soon. Later, staters! So we are all loaded up and ready to go. So we set off from the Ribs of Beef in Norwich, which is just down Magdalen Street, I think it's Magdalen Street, just sort of round Anglia Square way. Quite a historical part of Norwich, that is. It was such a lovely day as well. I think it got up to about 28, 29 degrees. And this is sort of about 10 o'clock in the morning. So as you can see, it's quite busy on the river there already with paddle boarders. And I do believe there's quite a few paddle boarding clubs in and around Norwich as well, especially for this part of the river. Because this is, I think this is still the Wensum here, which is one of the main waterways that runs through Norwich itself, I think. Don't hold me to that. I do apologise for the dodgy camera angles, especially at the start here. It is a little bit wobbly and a bit flippy, but I've only had the GoPro a couple of weeks, so I'm still getting used to that, and this is only the second time I've ever been on a kayak in my life as well, and I think that me and Billy are also playing a little bit of silly buggers and quite literally rocking the boat. So this is quite a historical part of Norwich, or at least I believe it is. So yeah, not too far from Norwich Cathedral there. Absolutely beautiful place if you ever get the chance to visit it. And not too far from there either is the oldest pub in Norwich, called the Adam and Eve. And once upon a time there used to be a pub for every single day of the year, and then a church for every Sunday of the year. But I do believe that was before we had 52 weeks and 365 days. But don't hold me to that. I also had some backup photographers with me for the day as well. And the Cow Tower was built in around 1398 in Norwich, and is one of England's earliest artillery blockhouses. It was constructed to protect the city and the River Wensum during periods of unrest, and today it remains a significant medieval military structure. There you go, look, a little bit of history. Every day's a school day. Maggie treated herself to a little lay down, distracted me and Billy, and we decided that we'd go the scenic route under the bush. And we are now approaching our first stop, which is the Red Lion, we didn't come into this very well, I must admit, and you know, we also had an audience, so that always helps, doesn't it? We sort of did a kayak version of a 10-point turn, if you like, but it was the first, you know, it was the first stop. We were still getting used to it. Cheeky pint, cheeky wee, cheeky bacon sandwich, straight back to it. And just coming up on the right hand side is something called Paul's Ferry, and it's a 15th century watergate on the River Wensum in Norwich, was part of a canal used to transport stone for Norwich Cathedral's construction, and it's now a picturesque historic landmark. So we're just coming down the Wensum, that just runs alongside the main riverside road in Norwich, which is sort of pretty much city centre really. Just coming past Norwich train station now, which was built in about 1842. Too busy trying to beat Maggie and Arpe, and we go straight into the middle of a load of swans. Just on the left is pretty much Riverside Entertainment Centre, which is where you go sort of like on a Friday, Saturday night out. There's also a couple of places on the right hand side as well that are good for gigs and things. Just to the left and the other side of this little bridge here, you've got Norwich City Football Club. The concentration on your face, although you are sending us squiffy.
Come on, you can do it! What? It's paddleboarding. You dare not fall in the water, Billy.
That should have been. Right, don't fucking paddle, I'll paddle.
Stopped being silly for a little while so we could make some headway to the rush cutters. Taking the scenic route across the river, you know, because why not? We were too busy taking in the scenery. There are some absolutely gorgeous little houses and little shacks and things just on the left-hand side of the river here. I think this is sort of like Thorpe St Andrew way. Coming up on the left, you have got the townhouse, and then a little bit further down, the river garden. But these two are quite difficult to get up into out of the kayaks, especially if you've only got little legs like me, because they are quite high up. So we just headed for the rush cutters. Now to attempt parking for the second time. Cheeky riverside photo op, cheeky pint, cheeky wee, and the water's edge, here we come. We thought we were doing really well when we caught this boat up, and then, oh look, there they go. They have petrol power, we don't. My captain wasn't always very good. Perhaps I should have jumped in with Maggie and Arpe instead. Incoming on the left. I'm not sure whose fault that was. So I thought that me and Maggie had a thing about bushes the first time I went, but turns out me and Billy had just a thing for bushes too. So it really was a fantastic day. The weather was glorious all day, 27, 28 degrees I think it was. And it feels so nice being on the water and being absolutely surrounded by nature. Really is good for the soul. And this bridge we're now coming under is actually the A47 roundabout Posick Way, I think. It is quite hard to gauge where you are when you're on the water because you haven't got the same types of landmarks and things to look out for. This is where I decided to jump in and go for a cheeky swim, hence the camera going a little bit squiffy. I quite literally rocked the boat.
And the boat coming.
They wanna pass us.
There they will, yeah.
So just go forward.
You got it all?
Where is your glass going?
In the boat.
In the boat. Yeah.
Careful.
Quite nice. Well, I'm back in the boat at this point, and we are back on our way to the water's edge.
Menjünk egy kicsit be. De jó, fúj a szél és csend van.
Now coming into the water's edge, and this one we managed to park like pros. Check this out. Cheeky cocktail, cheeky wee, and on to the last stop, which was the ferry house in Surlingham. Unless you are paying, it's the fairy house. Someone had moved our kayak whilst we were at the water's edge, and when they moved the kayak they knocked the tripod, and then I really struggled to get the same camera angle as I did for the rest of the journey, so I do apologise if it's a bit sort of higgledy-piggledy and hodgepodge for this last leg. there really are some gorgeous spots along the river. Pretty much anywhere where there was any greenery, there was just people having, picnics and had the dogs out and, family time and just touching base with nature, which, as I've already said, just so good for the soul. Really, really makes you feel good, I think. And plenty of boats out as well, between those moored up, with people making the most of the green spaces at the side, and those actually moving along the river. Oh, just really was a fantastic day. And again, some gorgeous little bungalows and lodges just coming up on the right hand side. Oh, just imagine being able to go and have your morning cup of tea and your breakfast just sitting out on the water. Your boat parked in your own little boatyard. Oh, that'd be beautiful, wouldn't it? Absolute bliss. I think you can tell we were getting a bit sort of tired and a bit hungry at this point, and definitely in need of refueling. And I think that was what was keeping us going for this last leg of the journey. And it was really quite warm as well, but obviously we made sure that we stayed hydrated. I do think here we had quite, because it's sort of quite vast and quite open, I do think we had a little bit of headwind here as well, which obviously always makes it a little bit difficult when you are the power behind the movement of the boat. Absolutely gorgeous house just here on the right that Arpe managed to get a fantastic picture of. And we thought we'd have one last hurrah at standing up in the kayak. It's kind of a bit like paddleboarding, but not like paddleboarding all at the same time. Billy did have to keep sitting down because we kept sort of like going a little bit squiff because there was a little bit of wind at this point. But either way, that was so much fun. time to have some sit down action shots, although it does look like I'm on my own slightly in the kayak. I should have just taken all the glory, shouldn't I? What was I thinking? So we're just about to come up to our last stop on Norwich's Pub and Paddle, which is the Ferry House in Surlingham. But there is one more after here, which is Coldham Hall. We had just ran out of time. I thoroughly enjoyed my day. I definitely highly recommend it to anyone that just wants a day out on the water, basically. But that is it for this one. I'll be back to gardening on the next one. Thanks for watching. Laters taters.